Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be talking about my experience with stretched ears, or as many people like to call them, gauged ears, which isn't technically the correct terminology. Gauge is the size of the earring, not like your holes, if that made any sense whatsoever. Probably not. Anyway, so if you're wondering what's on my lips, it is the Rimmel Only One lipstick in the shade Naughty Nude. I really like it. It's like not completely nude. It kind of has a purpley hint to it, so I really enjoy it. Anyway, so I got my stretched ears pierced at their size. So there are multiple gauges of the needles and of earrings. So like a normal earring is in 18 gauge. So the higher the number, the smaller the gauge. The lower the number, the bigger the gauge. So I got mine pierced at a 4 gauge. So that's really not too big. Do I have any of them left to show you? I don't think so. No, I don't. But if you look at my earlier videos, sorry, I keep getting out of focus. But if you look at a lot of my earlier videos, you can see my gauged ears. They weren't too big. If anything, they were maybe the size of this earring. So they weren't really that big. Anyway, so I got them pierced that size because, let's be honest, I'm not a patient person. And the process of stretching out your ears is long and tedious. And when you stretch them out, you have to use a metal. That way it's less prone to infection. And I am allergic to a lot of metals, and a lot of the stretching kits had the metals that I'm allergic to. So for me, it seemed smarter to get them pierced at my size because my piercer sells glass earrings and not metal. So glass or metal are the two things that you would want in your ears while healing because they don't absorb the bacteria. So yeah. So I got them pierced in July of 2014, right? No, sorry, July of 2013. Yeah, that sounds about right. July of 2013. And then I took them out July of 2017. So I had them for 4 years. So let me show you. Can I zoom? No. So let me bring you in a little closer. Woo! Because I want to show you what my ears look like now. Sorry, my mascara is flaking a little. So, this is what my ears look like now. It kind of just looks like I wore really heavy earrings my whole life. But they are back to a normal size. It just looks like I wore really heavy earrings for a long time. So, let's put my stud back in. And we'll back you back up. Alright. And you're kind of crooked. Alright. So, basically my experience with it is when you take out the earring, you need to just let it be open. That way, like, you can't have anything in it because you can't just put a straight earring back into it because, like I said, the gauge of the earring is way too small. Excuse me. So your hole will not hold the earring. It would just fall out. So you just kind of need to leave the holes open and have nothing in them. That way they have the chance to close. Now, if you are a 0 or smaller, a 0 gauge or smaller, your ear holes will go back to normal, no problem. If you're any higher than, I want to say, a 00, depending on how big you can get them to a smaller gauge, or you might not be able to at all. You probably would actually need to have some sort of surgery to get your ear looking back to a regular earlobe. I thought a 4 gauge was perfect because my ears are really small, and I wanted these two piercings to be there as well, and I knew that because I've always dreamed of having 3 holes on my ears for my wedding, and I knew that. So I wanted there to be room for those holes, and I also wanted to make sure that it wasn't just too big for my ears. I wanted it to be a nice small size, that way my ears did not look ridiculous. That's just me. So I took out my my plugs, which is what the earrings are called, not gauges. There's plugs and there's tunnels. Tunnels are the ones that you can see through. Plugs are ones that you can't. So I mostly wore plugs. I would occasionally wear tunnels, but I wore plugs a lot more often, because especially for work, because I personally thought they looked a little bit more professional. I do work at a nursing home, so it just made a little bit more sense in my head to wear plugs while I was at work instead of my tunnels. But I would wear tunnels occasionally to work, not too often, but mostly in my free time, because the tunnels I had were silicone, so they were really comfortable and not heavy on my ears. Like, one of my biggest fears with having stretched ears was that I was gonna wear plugs that were too heavy and stretch them even further, and I did not want that. But even on my wedding day, so I had my ears were stretched on my wedding day, but I wore plugs that made it look like a regular diamond earring. So that way, if I ever looked back on my wedding photos, my kids wouldn't be like, "Mommy," like, because I'm sure ear stretching's gonna go out of style at some point. I didn't want them to be like, "Mommy, why is there a giant hole in your ear?" You know, it wouldn't make sense. So instead of explaining all of that, I figured I would just have a plug that looked like a big diamond earring. So that's pretty much what I did then. But the healing process of taking out the stretched ears was super, super simple. Like I said, I just took out my plug. I let it close for a good month, maybe 2, and I was able to stick my earring back in. Now, these holes will probably never fully close to the point where I cannot put an earring back in, just because of how long I had them because of how long I had them stretched out. They will never, in my opinion, they will probably never fully close. Because this 3rd hole up here, this one closes on me quite a few times, which is why right now I'm actually wearing earrings and not wearing earrings. I try not to wear earrings that much to work because I do work on a dementia unit a lot, and I'm worried that they're just gonna yank them out, and I don't want tears in my ears. Oh my god, couldn't you just imagine? Which, fun fact, if you have nipple piercings, if they ever need to use the defibrillator on you, they're not gonna slowly take off the piercing or anything, nor are they gonna leave them in. They're just gonna rip them out. Fun fact, it doesn't stop me from wanting them. Anyway, but yeah, when I had my ears stretched, I loved them. I was going through this, I wouldn't want to say a punk phase, but F you, I can do whatever the heck I want with no consequences phase, you know? And it was more towards, this is gonna sound bad, but it was more towards my dad, because when I was 18 and I was over 18 and I was still living in his house, but when I was under 18, up and from when I was a kid to when I was 17 years old, my dad was very, very strict on what I wore, what my piercings, he was very strict on my image. So when I turned 17 and he told me I can start doing whatever I want because I'm so close to being 18 that it didn't really matter. I was like, I'm gonna wear short skirts, I'm gonna get big holes in my ears, I'm gonna do this, that, and the other thing. All I can say now is I'm glad for the lessons that my dad has taught me. It was actually probably more from my grandmother, because my grandmother was like the starting thing to it all. So I'm really glad for and then my dad just kind of jumped on the bandwagon. But I can definitely say I am very happy with the lessons of professionalism in dressing that I have learned. But you know, sometimes it is fun just to be like, oh, I look good. I look good. That sounded weird. I'm sorry. I'm going on a tangent. But so like I said, I had them for 4 years. The reason why I ended up taking them out was because I missed wearing like girly earrings and like cute little studs and like dangly earrings. Like I bought a pair of earrings when I had stretched ears, and I had bought them to wear in my second holes. And let me grab one of them. I bought them from this store in Derry, New Hampshire called the Happy Hippie. So they have like a very like vintage look and feel to them. That's what they look like. And I remember one time I was wearing them in my second hole, and it looked so weird because it wasn't like front and center where everyone could see it. It was like back a little bit, and it looked weird. It didn't look right. And that's when I really started realizing, like, I miss wearing these types of earrings, and I want to be able to go back. And around the same time, you started getting the really cool intricate earrings like these, where it's like this is in the front and this is in the back. I couldn't do that. So that's when I kind of made the decision to take out my plugs and go back to normal earrings, because you just have more versatility with normal earrings, and it's a lot cheaper to buy normal earrings than it is plugs or tunnels. Let me tell you, plugs and tunnels are expensive. It's like $7-8 for one pair, when I can go to Walmart and get this whole set for all these earrings for $8, you know? Like, to me, it was just like, come on. So, yeah, that's my experience on my stretched ears, and yeah, if you guys like this video, comment down below, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.